There's one number that predicts your future health better than your weight, your cholesterol, or that biological age filter on Instagram. And most people have no idea what theirs is. Stick with me for a few minutes and I'll show you what it is, how you can change it in 6 to 12 weeks, and why it might make your body younger than your driver's license says. That number is called VO2 max. Now, VO2 max sounds very lab coat and clipboard, but it's actually simple. It's just how big your engine is when you're working as hard as you possibly can. Technically, it's the maximum amount of oxygen your heart, lungs, blood, and muscles can deliver and use every minute during intense exercise. You don't need to memorize the units. What matters is this: the higher your VO2 max, the more engine you have for life. In a clinical exercise physiology lab, we measure VO2 max with that lovely Darth Vader mask while you run or bike as we crank up the speed and incline. In the real world, whether you're in a Chicago condo gym, a West Loop personal training studio, or out on the lakefront trail, we can estimate it with good fitness tests or even wearables like Whoop or Garmin. The higher your VO2 max, the easier everything feels. Climbing stairs, chasing your kids, running a 10K, even just surviving that sprint to make your train. Here's where VO2 max goes from cool fitness stat to this might save your life. Huge long-term studies have followed tens of thousands of people and found that people with higher cardiorespiratory fitness, often measured as VO2 max or METS, have a much lower risk of dying from any cause than people who are out of shape. And it's not all or nothing. Even a small bump in fitness pays off. Roughly speaking, each small step up in fitness is linked to around an 11 to 13% lower risk of dying from anything. That's why major heart organizations now say cardiorespiratory fitness should be treated like a vital sign, just like blood pressure or heart rate. When people talk about fitness age, this is what they mean. If your VO2 max is high for your age, your body is basically younger on the inside than your birth date says. Now for the part everyone actually cares about. How fast can you improve it? The good news, especially if you're a busy adult with a career, a family, and a dog that hates Chicago winters, is that you can move the needle in as little as 6 to 12 weeks. Research shows that structured programs using a mix of steady cardio and high-intensity intervals can significantly raise VO2 max in about 3 months, even in people who were fairly sedentary. High-intensity interval training, or HIIT, those short bursts of hard work followed by recovery, consistently boosts VO2 max in healthy, overweight, and athletic people. One study even compared short sprint intervals to longer, traditional endurance workouts and found similar improvements in VO2 max with way less total workout time. So what does this look like when you're not in a lab and you actually have a life? Imagine 2 days per week of intervals. For example, 4 to 6 rounds where you go hard for 2 to 3 minutes, then take 2 to 3 minutes easy. Add 1 or 2 days of what we call zone 2 work. That's brisk walking, easy jogging, or cycling, where you can still talk in full sentences without gasping for air. That's it. Consistent, not crazy. Now let's talk about what's realistic. What's a good VO2 max if you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s with a job, a family, and a calendar that looks like a game of Tetris? Large fitness databases using thousands of treadmill and bike tests show that VO2 max naturally declines with age, but there's a huge range at every decade. For many men in their 40s, an average VO2 max is somewhere in the mid-30s to low 40s. For many women in their 40s, it's often in the high 20s to mid-30s. You do not need marathoner numbers to be healthy. Being above average for your age is already associated with a meaningful drop in health risk. So for most Chicago professionals, the goal is simple. Move from low to moderate or from moderate to high for your age group, not to become the fittest person in the West Loop. When I build a VO2 max focused phase for a personal training client in Chicago, I usually think in 8 to 10 week blocks. A typical week might look like this: 2 interval days, 1 to 2 zone 2 days, and 2 to 3 strength sessions to protect muscle, joints, and long-term metabolism. In the early weeks, intervals are shorter and very manageable. Think 6 times 1 minute hard with 2 minutes easy. As your fitness, sleep, and recovery improve, we slowly progress. Maybe the intervals get a bit longer, maybe the intensity nudges up, Or maybe we add a little more total work. The key is we don't crank all the knobs at once. If you're using Whoop, Garmin, Apple Watch, or any other wearable, we keep an eye on your resting heart rate, your recovery scores, and how hard the sessions actually feel. The goal is to nudge VO2 max up over time, not grind you into the ground and call it beast mode. And here's the part most fitness content skips. There are times when we do not chase VO2 max directly. If you're sleeping terribly, undereating, highly stressed, or very deconditioned, then the first priority is not all-out intervals. It's getting you back to feeling like a human. We start with walking and basic movement. Simple, comfortable cardio intervals. Foundational strength work. In those cases, VO2 max improves as a side effect of you being more active and more consistent. High-intensity work and aggressive VO2 max targets make sense only once you have a base. That means 3 to 4 active days per week, decent technique, and enough recovery to handle harder efforts. In other words, you earn the right to push. So here's the big picture. You do not need to live in the pain cave to extend your fitness age. You need smart, repeatable training that fits your actual life in Chicago. Your West Loop commute, your Gold Coast social calendar, your condo gym, your kids' schedules. Give your body 6 to 12 weeks of a couple interval days, a couple zone 2 days, consistent strength training, and halfway responsible sleep and nutrition, and your VO2 max, your energy, and your long-term health will start to move in the right direction. Your calendar age is fixed. Your fitness age is not. If you're ready to upgrade that number, this is where you start.